We'll observe silence for some time. Oh, Jeff and Dana, are you here?
Yes.
So we have Lindia's question. How you pronounce your name? Lindia, right?
Lineida.
Lineda. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Lineda. So Lineda has a very practical question. And what I'm going to do, Lineda, I mean, it's a very long question. So instead of projecting on the screen, I'm going to answer the basics. And when I answer the basics, you should understand the main points, and also the group will know what I am going to talk about. It's a very basic questions about youngsters and how to guide them as far as their career is concerned. We discussed the concept of how to identify one's vasanas. The word which we use is swadharma, and how to do that. There could be at times practical difficulties in life. One may not be able to choose. You may have aptitude for, let's say, nursing, but due to certain circumstances, you cannot do that. So these are real challenges in the world anybody could face. That's the gist of your question, isn't it? So there are 5 or 6 main points. Now, the first point is that each human being has to select a branch of education or profession, vocation, you can use any word, in line with your talent. So the word which we use is swadharma, your own nature, your own talent, bent, aptitude, inclination. And in most cases, it's quite clear. Doctor must become a doctor, engineer must become an engineer. If you have asana for playing sports, you should become a sportsman, like that. And why are we saying that? Why Bhagavad Gita is saying that? Because if you choose a field which is in line with your talent, you'll be happy, you'll be fulfilling, as opposed to selecting something which is not your nature. That's not your vasana. So the word which we use is paradharma. Even though it may be convenient for you, but eventually you will get frustrated like a fish out of water. How can doctor become an engineer? How can engineer become a doctor? Simple example. So if you choose a paradharmic field, which is not your talent, it will lead to frustration. It will frustrate you, first of all, in your own field. And also, there cannot be any spiritual growth eventually because you will be agitated throughout your life. So, therefore, the advice given by the scripture is you must select a field in line with your talent. And it's not difficult. See, that is the reason we keep on saying that you should expose youngsters to as many activities as possible, you know, of course, discreetly. So if they're exposed to 8 to 10 activities, eventually they will figure out that this is my talent. And 70-80% of the cases, it is quite straightforward. There is no confusion. But sometimes there could be more than two or three, like, powerful interests. But again, one interest will be predominant. Let's say 60% interest towards nursing, 20% towards golf, 20% towards music. So definitely, since the major interest is 60% towards nursing, that has to be the profession. So such a person cannot take to golf full time, cannot take to music full time. But also it cannot be neglected. So it can be taken up as a hobby. On weekends you can play golf, or on weekends you can, play sports or whatever. So there is a possibility that person may have two or three interests, but usually it is one prominent interest. So that's the role of a guardian comes, that by discussion you should be able to guide them, you know, help them to identify their swadharma. And a simple exercise we always mention is what they can do is can give them a paper and a pencil or a pen or whatever. And early morning they can write down all their interests there, whatever is interesting them, what they find interesting in life. The general pattern. It could be music, it could be sports, it could be whatever, So there'll be like 8 to 10 activities. Also emotionally, what is happening to them, they have some inclination towards helping poor. These are the examples you are mentioning. So let them list 10, 15 things on the paper. They can repeat the same thing after a day or two without referring to the previous note. And they can do it for 8 to 10 days or maybe more, and then compare, let's say, 10 notes. So definitely there will be a pattern in 10 or 15 notes, and that they can circle. So that, and then they will be able to identify, okay, these are my main areas of interest in life. So this is how you can guide as a counselor. So that is number one. So as a youngster, they have to identify their swadharma. Number two, in their area of talent, they have to function unselfishly. So that is second. Fine, yes, I want to become a doctor, but then I could be a selfish doctor. I could be a selfish sportsman, selfish politician. So in your sodharmic field, you need to have a higher ideal. Since you attend classes, so you know what I am saying. Instead of just I, me, you work for loka sangraha. You work for the welfare of others. It's just a change of attitude. You don't have to do anything different. So number one, they identify their talent, their swadharma. Number two, in their area of interest, in that particular field, they have to function unselfishly. So that will give peace plus success and prosperity eventually. Now, the examples which you are giving, and they are good examples. See, at times one cannot choose sodharmic field. It's possible because of whatever circumstances that you need to earn money. You know, you could have sick spouse, you could have somebody, some obligations you have. So you understand this, that though my passion is for this particular field, but due to circumstances, for the time being, I have to take a detour. And once I fulfill my obligations, then I have to come back to my main area of interest in life. So the fact does not change. Yes, these are practical examples you are giving. No, like it may not be possible, but the principle does not change. Now, how to navigate your life, that depends from person to person. But the point is, if you do not navigate your life in such a way that you are functioning in your Swadharma, eventually you will be frustrated. So that is why people, they are frustrated, they are tired, they want to retire, they don't want to work, they feel they are suppressed. So all these negative emotions, they cannot correlate. But with this knowledge, you can correlate. That is because to begin with, you have selected a wrong profession. Why you selected a wrong profession? Because you're not aware of these principles. So therefore, teacher and taught both should be aware of this. So in short, knowledge of Vedanta is must. Now, being a counselor, you have this knowledge, so you can guide your students. But ultimately, unless and until this knowledge is taught to them, the basics of Vedanta, there's no need to go into subtle concepts which we discuss in Bhagavad Gita or here also. But the basic knowledge, basic values of life, they should be taught to the youngsters. See, for example, you can teach them the basics of this book or the fall of the human intellect, just the main concepts. You may not even teach them. You can use them to guide them in life. If you feel somebody is victimized by their mind, so you can briefly explain what is happening to them. It's a mind which gets you into trouble, so therefore you need a powerful intellect. You can give example of what is that poem? Chicken, the pond.
Pond.
Yeah, the pond. It's a very good example for youngsters. So like that, you can educate them. But to answer your question, knowledge of Vedanta is absolute must. The principle does not change. This is what we need to understand. See, it's like, yes, you should eat nutritious food. But what if I'm starving? There is no food available. Okay, something I need to eat. But it's only for the time being. Eventually, I have to eat nutritious food. But for my survival, at least something I have to eat, even if it is rubbish food. I mean, it's okay what to do. So the principles don't change. We need to have that clarity and manage our life in such a way that it is in line with these truths so that there is peace in our life. So, have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you so much for the clarity.
How about the group? Is group okay? Perfect. So, we are on the second chapter of this book. Born in Captivity. And topic 6, Captive of the Mind. So, last week we read first two paragraphs, isn't it? So the first paragraph is telling us that how you are a victim of your own vasanas. Vasana is your unmanifest nature, and they will manifest as thought, desire, and action. So if your vasanas are unselfish, your thoughts, desires, action will be unselfish. If your vasanas are selfish, thoughts, desires, actions will be selfish. So it is important to understand that it is happening to you as well as to others when you interact with the world. This is how you can relate to people. But as a human being, you have a capacity to change your vasanas. So that's the main point. And then the second point was how you are victimized by your likes and dislikes throughout your life. This is what we covered in this particular topic, captive of the mind. So, are there any questions from this topic, captive of the mind, first two paragraphs? Are we clear? Okay, great. So let's move on to the next paragraph, Raji.
Besides the tendency to yield to likes and dislikes, people fall an easy prey to the mind's attachment and possessiveness to worldly objects and beings. The human mind becomes deeply attached to the members of the family. The love spouses claim to possess for each other is actually attachment. The husband is attached to his wife. So is the wife attached to her husband. Attachment means love coupled with self-centeredness, selfishness. When love is mingled with self-interest, selfishness, it turns sour. The mind then develops attachment, possessiveness, and spells disaster. Spouses attached, possessive in their relationship court estrangement, separation, which invariably ends in divorce.
Yeah, please continue.
Children suffer the most from parents' treatment. The parents' attachment and possessiveness suffocate them, strangle their lifestyle. The kids wait for their maturity to leave their parents, move away from their homes. Unfortunately, the parents, with all the concern and care for the children, fail to understand the devastating consequences of their attachment.
In fact, the next chapter is all about attachment. This is only a brief introduction. So, the concept of attachment is analyzed completely and thoroughly in the third chapter. But what we need to understand that mind has a tendency to get attached to the objects and beings of the world. That is the nature of everybody's mind. So whatever it contacts, objects or being, it could be tangible or intangible. Mind has a tendency to get attached to it and become possessive about objects and beings of the world. And how it translates into relationship, that is important. Everybody has to understand that people claim that they have love for their spouse, for their children. No doubt it is love, but it is polluted by selfishness, self-centered interest. So when love is polluted by selfishness, it is called as attachment. You get rid of selfishness, what is left is love. So how do you know it is attachment, it is possessiveness? Because you become dependent on that object or a being. That's the very sign of attachment. When you have that person with you, you're fine. When that person is not with you, you miss that person, or there's a fear of losing that person. Same principle applies to all aspects of life, but we are discussing about relationship. And why we are saying it is selfishness? Because you get that kick. My boy, my boy. I think last week, I was with somebody a few weeks back. Tom and Jerry cartoon they were showing. It's fascinating. So there is Tom, there is Jerry, and there is that dog, and that dog has a baby. So it's a 20-25 minutes duration cartoon. Every minute, every 2 minutes, he says, "Oh my boy, oh my boy, oh my boy." Fascinating. We all were laughing. So you get that feedback. My boy, my girl, my boy, my girl. So you see yourself reflected in your own child. Number one. Number two, there is that catering. As long as they are catering to your emotions, to your personality, you say, I love you, you love me. The moment that catering stops, and if you still identify with that person, then of course it is love. But when catering stops and you don't identify with that person, then obviously it was always attachment. See, otherwise, how do you explain? Boy and a girl, they marry at age of 22, 25, whatever. Go on a destination wedding and whatnot. I mean, I go for a walk near my house. I've been going there for the last 12, 13 years. Very famous park. It's a trail, like spread over, I don't know, 50, 60 acres area. And especially summertime, springtime, newlywed couples, they come for like photo shoots. Absolutely lovey-dovey. Somewhere in the grass, they will go, there are 3, 4 photographers running after them and all that. I mean, it's everybody's having a good time. But what you must understand, how many of these marriages are going to last? 70% is a divorce rate in America. The boy says, I am yours till death do, whatever, what is it, that death separates us, so now we are going to be together. Same couple, they could be fighting cats and dogs, like cats and dogs with each other. I mean, since I'm in this field, I've seen so many cases. At least cats and dogs, they have some harmony. I will say there's some dignity they maintain. But human can fall to, once you start falling, there is no end to it. Like a bottomless pit. You want to tear each other apart. So from that photo shoot, within 5 to 6 years, just imagine the relationship is falling apart. Why did relationship fall apart? If it is love, then what went wrong? So it was never a love. That element of selfishness was there. In fact, it was selfishness. Love is just a poetry. That's all. So therefore, you need to differentiate love from attachment. And the next chapter is, we're going to discuss this in detail. So don't worry, just a trailer. And the consequences are deadly. It leads to conflicts, confrontation, and if it is pronounced, to separation. How many kids they want to stay with their parents? The moment they become 16, 17, they want to go away. It's not that they don't like their parents, they love their parents, but they can't get along with each other because constantly parents are interfering in their life. do this, do that, do this, do that. You try to micromanage their life. Guidance is different. Micromanaging their life is different. Hovering around them constantly is different. That is because of your possessiveness. One student from California, he joined Vedanta Academy long time back, 7-8 years back. This happened. 24, 25-year-old boy, brilliant boy. Parents, they moved to America when they are youngsters. So this boy is born and brought up here. So he was interested in this knowledge, but he waited for his graduation to complete. Then after that, he worked, and then he decided, yes, he wants to do a 3-year course. He was genuinely interested. And when he joined Vedanta Academy, all hell broke loose. His parents, especially boy's mother, could not handle that decision. Her point was, how can you leave your mother alone? And he has a sister. And mother is what, 50-year-old lady. How can you leave me alone? So as soon as he joined, within 2-3 months, she came and she created so much of fuss. She came with the police. They had some political contact in Bombay. They said this institution, they have hijacked my son and all that. And 8 to 10 policemen came. And to cut the long story short, she dragged her own son to the court. That how can you join the academy? There's something. And son made a beautiful statement. All I want to do is I want to study here for 3 years. That's all I want. He told the judge, and judge said, yeah, I mean, he's an adult. He's a 25-year-old boy. This happened first 3 to 4 months. Again, the lady came after 4 or 5 months. Again, she came with some police and some like hooligans and all that. Every 6 months she used to come. She did that for 2.5 years. And then the son said that I'm going to disown my parents. Can you imagine? And he loves his parents. He said, like, how can I relate to? I mean, all I want to do is study here. So he had come to study for 3 years. He took a decision to stay there forever because of his own parents. Otherwise, he wanted to study 3-4 years, maybe extra, 1 year extra, and go back. He said, impossible. They are mad. There's no way I can relate to them. There's a permanent rift in their relationship. You getting it? It's like more pronounced. I mean, every attachment is not so pronounced, but I'm giving this real life example that such things do happen. And that lady's relatives, they are saying, see how much she loves her son. You see the ignorant people, how they talk, how much she loves her son. She's not loving her son, she's loving herself. My boy, how can he be away from me? It leads to conflicts, confrontations, and when it is pronounced, it leads to separation. So parents, children, husband, wife, spouses, same principle applies. So this concept will be analyzed thoroughly in the next chapter, but this is what is happening to everybody. It's a question of more or less. So are we okay?
Sachdeva uncle has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amiji, your example of the pictures, photo shoots in the park.
Right.
My question is that, do relationships need to start? How can a relationship start with love? Don't they, to begin with, start with selfishness or self-centeredness or some kind of a situation where the two partners are catering to each other's feelings and emotions, and then we need to understand the dynamics of it. And then we need to change the dynamics to love by taking self-centeredness out?
See, what you are saying is, can a human being improve? I'm rephrasing your question.
Yeah,
Can I become a better human being? Yes. Everybody can become a better human being. If you get this knowledge, you will correct yourself. Even if it is attachment to begin with, if you get exposed to this knowledge, you will change yourself. You will drop that selfishness. What will be left is love. But who has this knowledge? So the starting point is wrong, ending point also has to be wrong. It's like you eat junk food to begin with, and if you continue eating junk food, I mean, what is going to happen? Being a doctor, you know. But if
right.
I've been eating junk food and I get exposed to the knowledge of medicine, let's say you educate us, this is nutritious food, don't eat this, don't eat that, and I become aware. Obviously, I can change my old habits and I can start eating nutritious food provided I get knowledge. Similarly, if people get this knowledge, then they will correct themselves. But how many people get this knowledge? So the problem is, that's what he's going to tell us in the next chapter. It's not easy. In fact, it is impossible. People are firmly convinced that attachment is love. That's the problem. You can't change. Even if they suspect that, yes, what I call love is actually attachment. I'm possessive about my children. I'm possessive about my partner. Then there is scope of improvement, but it is impossible. Very, very difficult. Give up that possessiveness. But
But will it be fair to say that that most of the marriages start with attachment
not most, every
and
marriage starts with attachment. I
with
mean,
lack of
it's
knowledge
not as a
about?
rule as such,
Yeah.
but see, it's possible that your vasanas are unselfish, so therefore you relate to your spouse in an unselfish way. It's nothing to do with every relationship has to start with selfishness. There is no such law.
Okay.
It depends on your vasanas, your personality. If you have been exposed to this knowledge directly, indirectly, you have been living this knowledge, then this is how you relate to the world, which includes your partner, which includes your children. If your basic personality is selfish, then you relate to people around you, your family members, selfishly. So it's nothing to do with you start by default, it has to start. It depends on your either, I mean, are you knowledgeable or you're ignorant? It boils down to that. Since most people don't have this knowledge, they are selfish. So whatever they contact, whatever they relate to, any aspect of the world, relationship is just one aspect we are discussing. So he's going to discuss so many. You acquire wealth, you relate to wealth selfishly. Religion, you relate to religion selfishly. You get power, you relate to power selfishly. You come to the spiritual field, people they relate to spiritual field selfishly, which is supposed to purify your personality. People want name, fame, recognition in spiritual field. So
Thank you.
selfish person will be selfish in all aspects of his life. Relationship is just one aspect of your life. Are you okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Is group okay? No questions? Perfect. Next paragraph, please.
Yet another facet of human victimization is the mind's fanaticism to one's religion. The human mind is caught up in a web of one's religion from the very birth and swears by it all through life. Such dogmatic attachment to religion creates within a resistance, revulsion to other religions. It results in a massive religious intolerance, leading to bitterness, confrontation, and clashes with each other's faith, and ending in wars between civilized nations fought in the name of religion.
Please continue.
It is indeed a pity the greatness and grandeur of religion has been lost. None seems to realize its meaning and purpose. Religion is actually constituted of two distinct facets: its inner kernel of philosophy and the outer shell of rituals. The problem facing the world is that the vast majority of humans are materialistic and sensual. They stay away from religion. The minority who take to religion are lost in mere ritualistic practices. They do not relate to the subtle philosophic theme of religion. Thus, hardly any follow the essential guidelines to life and living provided in the scriptures. Consequently, the ignorant masses are left totally confused and chaotic. And these ignoramuses have set up sects and creeds, caused factions and divisions, all bitterly warring and destroying each other.
Perfect. So it is important for you to understand that what are the devastating consequences of attachment to religion. See, if you are attached to family member, you will harm maybe one or two people. I'm talking about like really pronounced attachment. But if you are attached to your religion, literally you could destroy the community, a piece in a community, or you can even destroy the world. So it's that deadly, that pronounced. And nobody has a clue of what religion is. That's the tragedy. So either you can resist to other religions internally, you may not clash, but there is resistance. He is Hindu, he is Sikh, he is this, he is that. Or if it is pronounced, you may clash with them. So this is what we see in all parts of the world. There is resistance. It's like passive resistance. You don't accept that person as your own brother or sister because he belongs to a different religion. And if you are aggressive, you will clash with them. You want to harm them, or perhaps you want to destroy them. So all major wars in the world were fought because of religion. Misunderstanding of religion, not religion. If you look at the history of humanity, last 5,000, 10,000 years, you find 80-90% of the wars were because of, they were fought because of religion. Exactly same thing is happening now. I'm not getting into the details. If you go to any major conflict which is happening in any part of the world, you will find out that bottom line is religion. And same thing will continue in the future unless and until we wake up. Now, how we wake up, I mean, you need this knowledge. So there are two types of people. Both are non-thinkers. So one set of people, they accept religion blindly. They don't know what it is. Another set of people, they reject religion. They say, what is this religion? I'm an atheist. Other person swears by religion, another person rejects religion. Both have no clue of what religion is. Even a person who swears by his or her religion has got no clue. What is actually religion all about? So any religion has got two aspects. There is philosophy and there is ritual. So philosophy is nothing but eternal principles of life and living. They are common to all human beings. We call them Vedanta. Vedanta meaning eternal truths. It's not religion. These are laws of life and living. They were applicable in the past. They are applicable now. They will continue to be applicable in the future. So every religion has that component, which is philosophy. And then there are rituals. So rituals are actually meant for the masses, people who cannot think. But they need something. They need some idols, they need some rituals so that they can think of the supreme reality. Of course, there is a meaning behind all that thing, all that is lost. So these rituals, they vary from religion to religion. But the bottom line, the philosophy is exactly same. How can it be different? Because philosophy is based on eternal truths. Sanatana Dharma, that's the word we use in India. Sanatana Dharma meaning eternal principles of life and living. That's the foundation of any religion. So people don't understand this, so therefore they are warring with each other. And I think he is giving that example in this book. Next paragraph is saying, like somebody swears that he is a Christian, another person swears he is a Hindu. Both have no clue of their religion. Accidentally, actually, they were exchanged in hospital. That's the example he's going to give us. So the boy who has become a fanatic Christian, actually, he belongs to the Muslim parents, and vice versa. And they are fighting with each other, destroy that guy, destroy that guy. So zero clue of what religion is. There was one survey done long time back, 20, 25 years back. When I was a student that time. So they asked students, they asked Christians, boys and girls, that why you call yourself a Christian? Hindu boys and girls, same survey was done. That on what basis you say you're a Hindu? So 95% of the Christians, they said, we are Christians because we are buried after we die. And Hindu boys and girls say we are Hindu because we are cremated. Our bodies are cremated after we die. You understand the ignorance of the whole thing. What it has got to do. How you are cremated, how your body is disposed of. So all rituals from birth till death. And this is what people are fighting about. You should be cremated after you are dead. That's the only way. Other will say, how can you cremate? I mean, it's absurd. You should be buried. And a fight is going on. Over what? Cremation and burial. Nobody has a clue of what religion is all about. So it's derived from the two words, re-ligare, meaning to join again. Re plus ligare, it's a Latin derivation. To join again, to unite again. Unite with what? From the supreme reality, from which we all are separated. So religion in absolute sense gives that know-how to every human being, how to merge with the supreme reality. How you do that? Through action, through emotion, through your thoughts, and through your knowledge. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. This is the gist I'm trying to explain to you. That's the true meaning of the word religion. That is true religion all about. So that science of uniting with the supreme reality is called as religion, that technique. And from relative level, how to live life, the knowledge of life and living. So these are the two main components of any religion. So hardly anybody goes to that. People are caught up in non-essentials of religion. Rituals are non-essentials. Yes, they have a role to play, but as far as for all practical purposes, they are non-essentials. If you don't understand the meaning, Therefore, we are saying they are non-essentials. So therefore, there is no such thing called religion left in the world today. Right from top to bottom, everybody is ignorant. It is blind who is leading the blind. Religious leaders who are supposed to unite the community, the whole humanity, they are creating a rift. I'm not saying every religious leader is doing that, but there are such leaders who are doing that. So-called religious leaders. So let's read the example. People do not realize.
People do not realize they are held hostage by their religious beliefs, besides other bondages in their lives. Before you cross your childhood, you're led to believe you're a Hindu, Christian, Muslim, or the other. You swear by the religion you're born in. Right through your lifespan, you firmly believe that as a supreme, and denounce all other religions as sacrilegious, blasphemous. You become a religious fanatic. You do not realize you are merely carrying the spiritual dead load of parentage, community, and country. You have lost your freedom of thought, word, and deed, and suffer from a claustrophobic religiosity. Study this episode carefully. Two men profess different religious faiths. One as a staunch Muslim, the other as a devout Christian. They were born on the same day 40 years back. The nurse at the maternity ward attending to the babies committed a colossal blunder. She mistakenly interchanged the newborns in their cradles. The Muslim baby was placed in the Christian mother's cradle, and the Christian baby in the Muslim mother's cradle. And the two children were brought up unknowingly with the opposite domestic, social, and religious influences. Consequently, both grew up holding beliefs totally opposed to their original family and religion, resulting in each swearing by one's present belief.
So this is happening to everybody. Like a funny example is discussing. So that conditioning happens in the childhood. You can use the word brainwashing. In some cases, they brainwash. It's easy to brainwash a child because there is no thinking. The thinking starts, the intellect starts manifesting once you become, let's say, 12, 13, that questioning ability develops. So your religious beliefs, they take place before that. So where is the chance? If you see people all around you, they are believing fanatically in a particular religion, you also become a fanatic. So without thinking, mind which takes to a particular faith or ideology, the foundation is ignorance. Foundation of your belief is ignorance. Then he talks about the poem, The Blind Man and Elephant. It's a very powerful message that how deadly it is. And the more ignorant you are, more sure you are. That's the problem. There is no chance of correction. You could be wrong, but if you suspect that perhaps I could be wrong, then yes, there is hope. But not only you are totally ignorant, you're absolutely sure. That's the main point in the poem. That blind men, they went to see elephant. That itself is a paradox. How can a blind man see the elephant? You get the point. And they feels some part of the elephant and they start fighting with each other. Oh, elephant is like a rope. Elephant is like a wall. Third blind man says even a blind man can say elephant is like a rope. Look at the absurdity. Says even a blind man can say. This is what is happening. My religion is the best. My guru is the best. Krishna alone will save the world. All other gods you denounce. They have no clue of what religion is all about. They are fighting with each other vehemently from top to bottom. That's the poem all about. So, Rajay, let's read till the end of the poem. And the last paragraph we will read next week. Rise above captivity. So, up to that, play it continuously.
With these facts in mind, examine the present day world. People are lost within the periphery of the religion which they claim as their own. With no study, reflection, or absorption of its philosophic truths which constitute the quintessence of religion. They are enslaved by their own irrational fanatic beliefs. John Godfrey Sachs highlights such spiritual blindness in his beautiful poem, The Blind Men and the Elephant. The poem presents the views of 6 blind men who went to see an elephant. Each described the elephant in his own way. The first felt its broadside and declared the elephant is just a wall. The second, happening to hold its tusk, was quite clear the elephant was like a spear. The third, taking its trunk with his hands, was sure it was like a snake. The fourth, groping along the knee, had no doubt the elephant was like a tree. The fifth, touching the ear of the animal, proclaimed it was a fan. The sixth, seizing the tail, professed the elephant was much like a rope. Thus, the 6 blind men stuck each to his opinion of the elephant. They argued and disputed over the nature of the animal, which none of them could claim to have actually seen. The poem, The Blind Men and the Elephant. It was 6 men of Hindustan, to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The first approached the elephant, and happening to fall against his broad and sturdy side, at once began to bawl, "God bless me, but the elephant is nothing but a wall." The second, feeling of the tusk, cried, "Ho, what have we here, so very round and smooth and sharp? To me 'tis mighty clear, this wonder of an elephant is very like a spear." The third approached the animal, and happening to take the squirming tongue within his hands, thus boldly up and spake, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a snake." The fourth reached out his eager hand and felt about the knee. "What most this wondrous beast is like is mighty plain," quoth he. "'Tis clear enough, the elephant is very like a tree." The fifth, who chanced to touch the ear, said, "Even the blindest man can tell what this resembles most. Deny the fact who can, this marvel of an elephant is very like a fan." The sixth no sooner had begun about the beast to grope, than seizing on the swinging tail that fell within his scope, "I see," quoth he, the elephant is very like a rope. And so these men of Hindustan disputed loud and long, each in his own opinion exceeding stiff and strong, though each was partly in the right and all were in the wrong. So oft in theologic wars the disputants, I ween, rail on in utter ignorance of what each other mean, and prate about an elephant not one of them has seen. John Godfrey Sachs. The poet draws a parallel between the blind men and the spiritual ignoramuses who profess to know God, and cautions humanity against the influence of those that are lost in spiritual blindness. The young need to be particularly careful not to be drawn into the theological wars being fought by various religious factions. The human race has been a victim of such fanaticism for centuries, resulting in confrontation, aggression, and destruction. Ironically, religion is designed to engender unity, harmony, and peace. People must wake up from their spiritual complacency, develop their intellect, and rise above such dogmatic views and beliefs.
Perfect. So, powerful message. Any questions?
Amaji, one clarification. You talked about people who accept religion blindly and people who reject religion blindly. How do people who reject religion blindly they hurt others? And what is the psychology behind that of people rejecting the religion blindly? The second question is, what is the basis of fanaticism? Is it the mind that's fanatic, or is the intellect, or is it both?
Mind. Answer to
Okay.
both the questions is mind.
Okay.
One person, he accepts religion. He has no clue of what religion is all about. It's
Okay.
not that he has analyzed, understood the message, and developed the conviction. That is why I need the knowledge of religion. If anybody does that, then it is backed by intellect, logic, and reason. Somebody, an ignorant person who swears by his religion is just mind, it's a feeling of the mind that my religion is the great religion, the best religion.
Yeah.
There is no logic or reason. So similarly, another person rejects religion, let's say atheist. It's not based on logic and reason, it's just a feeling of the mind. I think it is useless. It has got no meaning. Explain why it has got no meaning. No, I just feel like that.
Can this
When it is
person hurt others?
pronounced, so that attachment to the religion, when it is pronounced, you become fanatic. See, people may be generally attached to their religion. That does not mean they become fanatic. Every person who is attached does not become a fanatic to his religion. But when mind completely topples the personality, you become a fanatic. So it is mind, absence of intellect, zero intellect.
How can an atheist hurt others?
He won't hurt others. He will hurt himself.
Okay.
He can hurt others if he starts giving lecture to others and people who get influenced by his lectures.
Okay.
Religion is useless, you are wasting your time. And let's say the children, if they get influenced by that, then they will miss out on the knowledge of religion. In that sense, he can hurt others, but not like a fanatic. Fanatic, they destroy each other.
Thank you.
The main point in the poem is they cannot see elephant because they were blind and they are absolutely sure what elephant is. That's the main point. You cannot understand supreme reality by your material equipments. Body, mind, intellect cannot contact God. It is the subject in body, mind, intellect. With actions, you can't reach God. With emotions, you cannot feel God. With knowledge, you cannot understand what is God, the concept of supreme reality. It is a subject in you which makes you act, feel, and think. So, body, mind, intellect, they are useless to contact God, to understand what is God all about. All about. You have to go beyond body, mind, intellect to understand what is it. It's transcendental, it's not terrestrial. Yes, you have to use body, mind, intellect, but ultimately you need to transcend. Just as no dreamer can understand the waking state by using his dream body, mind, intellect. He has to transcend his dream personality, become a waker. When he becomes the waker, he understands what is waking state. So similarly, we have to transcend our body, mind, intellect to understand the concept of God. And how you do that? When you do that, when you eliminate all your desires, human being minus desires equals God, divinity, supreme reality. We always keep on referring to that equation, isn't it? It's not an object of comprehension, the God. That's the mistake people make. And they're absolutely sure what is it, what is God all about. These are the main points in the poem. So we covered a lot of ground today, the whole week to study, to reflect. And if something is not clear, feel free to bring it up next week. So should we conclude?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So I'll see you on Saturday and Sunday next week.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy
Thank you,
New Year to all of
Amrita.
you. Enjoy your
Thank you.
weekend.
Be
Thank
safe.
you.
Bye.
Happy New Year, Amitji.
Don't drink too
Happy
much.
New Year. Happy New Year to all of you.
Yeah.